Good evening, sweet world. Welcome to another Grit N Grime podcast. I'm your host, David Sagoe. To my left, Thomas Arnold.
Friends.
Really. Opposite him,
Colby White. Soon to be. I'm joking. Chris Dunn 4-1.
and what's your name?
Oh, yo.
Hey, yo!
Oh, really? Really?
And opposite me.
Really? Oh, you just set this up. Okay. Right. Fine.
Just realised.
Fine.
We've gone through two of them.
Fine. Fine.
And opposite me, Michael
Months.
Downey.
Ari.
How long did it take you to come up with that? Huh?
Oh, about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
It was like, you went nuts, and then I messaged Mike like, yo. It's going down.
Oh, wait.
Oh, man. All right.
Congrats to the starters, guys. Anyway.
Congrats to the starters back as No Dunks Inc. I'm sure some legal things went down over there, but glad they have their own platform. Hopefully they're in control of it. And the Athletic will give them all the freedom they want to put out the product they want to put out, Io. Isn't that right?
So, Eastern Conference.
So this week we'll be covering the Eastern Conference, doing a preview, going through team by team, top to bottom based on last week's standings.
Last week's?
Last week? Last season's standings, even better. Starting with the Milwaukee Bucks, first overall seed. They are one of my teams, so I'll jump in. Outgoings, they had Malcolm Brogdon leave. Notable outgoings, I'll say. Malcolm Brogdon left, and Nikola Mirotic left for Europe, actually.
Yep.
And then Matthews came in, and Robin Lopez came in. They also signed Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
Can't imagine why.
No
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
I don't.
He's
It's an odd one.
not necessarily. I mean, but we'll go into it later.
Give me a sec. For me, the X factor, the key thing for their team is going to be depth. And I said again, because I think last year their depth was excellent as well. It still is with guys like DiVincenzo. Thanasis, I think, will actually contribute on the defensive end. And then again, they're up against an easy Eastern Conference. I think it's going to be quite easy for them to end up with a high seed. So I put them as a contender in terms of their tier. But the most important thing for them is going to be who's going to step up in the playoffs. Who's going to be there next to Giannis and the front lines.
Giannis.
Putting the ball in the hoop. That's their most important thing. What do you guys think?
It's gonna have to be. I mean, obviously, Malcolm Brogdon's gone.
Yeah.
So there's no way.
He was their second best playoff player last season.
He was their second best.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
Scorer.
Okay, fine. Oh, I'm sorry. Which is interesting because he was on his way back. He was
From
back
injury,
from injury.
Yeah.
It's. I think at this point now, although people do consider Chris Middleton to be the second guy,
Yeah.
and he's all-star.
He got an all-star nod last year.
He got all-star nod last year. Kind of pretty much solidifies it.
Mhm.
There's still. I just feel that there's almost like a question mark still about him.
I think
Because of the playoff performance.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Correct. Absolutely.
Because the year before he was excellent against
Yeah.
the Celtics. He was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But then, last year he wasn't the same
More
guy. I think that
attention,
was
yeah.
because of the probably more attention, but
Yeah.
also the defense he was playing against the Raptors can definitely lock up.
Yeah,
So-
well, yeah.
So at this point, there's two things in my opinion that needs to step up, and it goes back to what you were saying about depth. So it's Chris Middleton actually putting his foot down and saying, I'm that
second-best
second
player.
guy, and this is going to happen not only in the regular season but in
Mhm.
playoffs,
Yeah.
but also the depths.
Yeah.
The depth have to stay up. Look at all the best championship teams. That the depth has really are the ones that actually got
Put
them
you
around
over
the
the
corner,
top.
got them over the top. So
Yeah.
it's important. Bringing in his brother is a very, very important move. I think not so because he's his brother, but because he's a high energy guy, a very excellent offensive rebounder. He's incredibly athletic, incredibly fast. Those things that they were lacking slightly last season. So I think depth is what will help him.
It's the key.
Yeah.
So moving on to team number 2. The Toronto
Raptors. So multiple ins and outs, i.e. transactions. I'll start with those who left. Obviously Kawhi, Jody Meeks, and Jeremy Lin, who now plays in China. And then notable ins, Marc Gasol, who exercised his contract option, Terrence Davis, who's a signing, Stanley Johnson, who's a defensive shooting guard / small forward. He came in from Detroit. Patrick McCaw re-signed. Rondé Hollis Jefferson signed, and the useless Cameron Payne, formerly of the Bulls and OKC. Because he
can dance though.
Useless. Yeah, he can dance though. He's a great dancer. He's a useless pain in the ass. X Factor.
Cameron Payne.
Yeah, exactly. Cameron Payne. Bottom line, Pascal Siakam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bottom line, simple. He has to almost take the next 2 steps up, in my opinion.
Where do you think they're gonna finish next year?
I'll get to that.
Okay, all right, it's in there.
Don't press him.
I think, I think that he has to take the next 2 steps up. He's like 26, 25, 26.
I think he is.
So
is he? He's older than I
He's
thought.
older,
So
yeah.
he's older. He's young, but he's older than a lot of
Considering how long he's been in the league.
Exactly.
Yes.
But at the same time, he started in the G League. He was in G League for quite some time. So he almost had to take that next 2 steps up that anyone at his age would have to be at, having been drafted, let's say, in the lottery, for example. So he has to.
6 years ago.
So at a point, I think he will have to be the leading scorer, if not the second.
He will have to be the leading
Well,
scorer.
basically, the leading scorer. He would have to be the leading scorer. He would have to be top 2, maybe 3-point percentage, or if not 3-point attempts. It would have to be. It would have to be top 2, top 3 in most of the categories, to be honest with you, except maybe assists. So he has to take the next inverted commas 2 steps up to ensure that the Raptors do not fall far down the Eastern Conference. The tier, I believe, they are playoff bound. Because at this point, I believe in Marc Gasol. I believe in Kyle Lowry. I also believe in Pascal Siakam, but I also, for the most part, believe in Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse is also a very important key. He's coaching, his direction, and will push them forward. So playoff bound, 6th, 7th is where they'll
6 or 7
Oh.
seed. You disagree?
I think my big worry is if they don't start and look like they're gonna be like contending. I think Marc Gasol might check out quite early, as he did with Memphis. I thought he did with Memphis.
disagree, because they maybe before the trade, but before they got Marc Gasol, I mean, were they like? I'm not sure if they were in that contending sort of. I can't remember if they were in that sort of contending tier.
The Raptors?
Yeah, were they?
In
But I think they always had the
Okay,
potential
well,
for
fine.
that
But-
with
but-
Kawhi.
They
team.
always, but Raptors is a team that always starts really funny, really slow, but kind of picks up momentum through the rest of the season. So I'm not worried about where they'd be. Where they'd be at the start of the season. I'm more worried where they'd be come All-Star game.
Come what may.
Yeah, my point was more about like the effect that might have on Marc Gasol.
Oh,
and
right. Fair enough.
what effort he would be putting in later on. They could pick up, as you said, like a lot of it will depend on.
My issue with them is that if they start slow, people are going to start talking crap about them because they're the champions.
Yes, agreed.
And then they'll get to them.
Agreed.
So they'll either go two ways. They'll bounce back as champions and go, well, let's prove people we can perform, or they'll just crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway.
I'd probably have them around 8th, but maybe the other side.
Right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm same 6, 7, 8.
Are you?
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing them. Anyway,
next team, the Philadelphia 76ers, back to back, like it's Jordan 96, 97. Whoa,
we're going back to back, people.
Yes.
All right, Sixers. They had an active off season. So going out, Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick,
Jimmy Buckets,
2 major pieces. Coming back in, we've got Big Al Horford, Josh Richardson, Trey Burke, Kyle O'Quinn, and Raul Neto. Who's actually
Where's he
Brazilian.
from?
Yeah, I know, right?
Say it like
Really?
from there.
Not from Madrid.
No?
Yeah.
Definitely
Say it like from there.
Craig.
I think the expectations on them are going to be finals, to be honest with you.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Anything less than the finals.
Yeah.
Poor season.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of wide open for them, really. If they can improve on what they did last year, then
X Factor.
I think there's a few. There was the storyline the whole of last year whether Simmons and Embiid can play in a system that sort of maximizes both of their sort of skills. I think that'll continue. Then you've got can Horford sort of bring them together defensively and sort of minimize the impact of losing Butler. I think Butler was a major player last year.
Yeah.
But maybe that was because Embiid and Simmons just weren't quite ready. And it was such a brand new team that he will naturally just ball out when he needs to.
The coach has said that everything's going to go through Embiid now.
Yeah.
Even in the clutch.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Embiid is the guy on that team.
Yeah.
Like he's a generational sort of talent. Last year was his comeback from injury. Let's make sure he doesn't get injured again. I think the sort of shackles are off. Like he's sort of fully into it.
Yeah.
They fully trust him.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
And he's in great shape as well.
Is he?
A lot of weight. Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight.
Because I haven't seen.
He said
he
was
lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So that was my thing towards the end of the season.
A lot of people were saying that.
He needs to lose weight. And also, now, that whole thing about sort of making excuses for him, that needs to go. That needs to just...
Yeah.
I don't think he's got anywhere for that.
Yeah,
which is
I don't
fine.
think he wants any excuses.
Exactly, but they made a shit ton of excuses for him towards the end of the season last season, and that's done now. That's a wrap. You're in it. Let's go. You know. That's it.
I just want him to do less Twitter, more basketball.
But I think you saw
there's some
that.
people that spend their whole day on Twitter just tweeting.
Do you know how much free time these players have?
Yeah.
They do. Well, get on Fortnite. Get yourself a Switch.
So you'd rather that?
Yeah, you'd rather them fry their brains as opposed
What's the
to,
difference?
Yeah.
It's just the difference is it's not public. Like
run through schemes on NBA 2K.
Run the plays on 2K20.
Be a good LeBron.
Have we said we're looking for sponsorship, by the way, 2K?
Facts.
I don't think there's that. I've been aware of a team that's gone from being a perennial bottom feeder to finals expectations that quickly.
So quickly. Yeah.
So quickly.
Like it's been around Embiid, so there'll be a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's built for it.
For me, I think it's going to be important to see how they do with their outside shooting, because they've got some decent outside shooters, but Redick that was a huge part of their offense, and then also Jimmy Butler creating for himself was a huge part of their offense.
But Josh Richardson shouldn't be slept on.
Can I just say that when they're talking about the shooting, everyone keeps bringing up JJ Redick. They very rarely bring up a Landry Shamet, and they miss Landry Shamet, and he was an excellent. He just turned out to be an excellent shooter.
Yeah. If they missed him, how much are they going to miss JJ?
Of course, but I'm saying, the multiple shooters, the multiple shooters.
And Harris,
definitely miss it.
It would be good to see Harris get back to his form that he had at the Clippers.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
To justify that championship. Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
He'll have more time to do that. Moving on to back-to-back, like it's Jordan 96, 97. Moving on to the Boston Celtics.
One of the other very active teams.
Shout out to our Boston Brit.
So notable outs. We had Kyrie, Horford, and Rozier.
Yeah.
Rozier?
Say it like you're from there.
Sure.
Wherever there is.
Rozier.
And coming in, we had Kemba Walker, Enes Kanter, and the giant great Taco Fall.
Taco.
Oh, and the French Center.
Hey.
Yeah.
Who?
Vincent Part.
We said notable in.
What is notable? Come on, don't do that.
Fine. We'll see how they
My guy, don't worry about it. Where they only Euro League heads here? Where they only Euro League heads?
All-Star games. Okay.
Disrespectful.
6 men of the year.
Facts.
Notable in.
These disrespectful.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Exactly.
No, it's all right.
We'll remember.
Yeah, exactly. We'll
Euro
remember.
corner over here.
We're the only exactly. We're the only Euro League heads over here.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Anyway.
Okay.
Shout out to Boston
X Factor
again.
X Factor. I think the biggest X Factor is that we're gonna really see how that talent versus chemistry storyline will play out. Swapping out Kyrie for Kemba, it'll be very telling. I think the one concern for me is that that people are underplaying the fact that Horford is also gone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So. Yeah, I think we're going to see. I think that they're not going to do as well as last year, but the East is the East, so they're still going to get the playoffs. Yeah,
the weaker.
I mean, although US were trash in the World Cup,
the Celtics.
The US were trash.
Celtics.
Well, basically Celtics, but they were
still
trash.
Celtics.
Whoever they were trash. The camaraderie I'm sure they would have built during that time, very vital.
It's much
vital.
documented.
Exactly.
Much
so,
documented.
and I saw it in the first preseason game just recently, and they seem so much more fluid. It just seems more fluid to me. I was very surprised how well Hayward fitted into the starting lineup.
They've been saying that Hayward's looking a lot better this season as well.
I expected that, to be honest with you.
As well.
I genuinely expected that.
Like for so long.
Exactly, a broken leg. It's not even an ACL. It's a broken leg.
You're better the second year, definitely.
So I think that was what happened with Paul George, wasn't it? It was the second year that he came back. So,
of course.
Yeah.
So I expect them. I don't know what you've got them, but I expect them top 5 maybe. Or fighting for in and around.
Yeah, I think fighting for the 5th spot. Yeah, I find them a little bit difficult because they've had such like a major change. I think if I'm a Boston fan, then I would be hoping that they'd be sort of around 4. But I think if they finish sort of 6 or 7, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Hot take.
Oh, really? Interesting. I see them around 4 and 5.
Kemba Walker's assists will go up this season.
That's not a hot take.
No, not necessarily as in like career highs.
I think I'm going to put my hoodie on after that.
No, genuinely. I sincerely believe so. I think
he's never had anybody to pass to.
Of course. But again, that's my point.
As
the
a
fact that he has
documented Tatum hater, he is a better spot-up jump shooter than Jeremy Lamb. Hot take.
Of course, but I'm just saying, because he has now weapons, he knows he can actually finish.
But the point is that he's never had to play like that. So how is that going to work? Kemba's never had to. He's had to create for himself. He's never had to.
Now he doesn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, but
it's going to be easier for him.
I don't have any
doubts.
It will. But I'm saying I don't know how good he is at doing that. At creating.
Did you watch the first preseason? I saw
them lose in the FIBA.
No, I mean,
I watched the first preseason game. I saw them slightly edge out a Charlotte Hornets team.
Let's not get excited about
that. Those first 2 quarters, Kemba, was facilitating really well. Or
they did look good. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with his defense in the playoffs.
That's it.
Yeah. One thing, I just want Taco Fall to dunk on LeBron and say, check this Taco Tuesday, motherfucker. Let it be done.
With that, we roll into the 5th team.
It has to be on a Tuesday, though, as well.
Not a Wednesday, a Tuesday.
The Indiana Pacers.
That'll be me. All right, cool. Thanks for the intro.
You're welcome.
Right, notable players coming in. Malcolm Brogdon.
Very
Brogdon
player.
The president,
yeah.
Huh?
TJ Warren.
Big star.
Yes.
Jeremy Lamb.
Underrated,
Notable.
by the way.
And
Very
they
underrated.
drafted a guy I'd never heard before, Goga Bitadze.
Yes, I've read a bit about him,
Yes.
but I'll let you carry on.
He's got a great, apparently...
Was he was the one that was stuck on
Big man.
on the side where during sort of the draft sort of
he
process,
didn't come out for his
process.
interview straight away.
And everyone, all the press went to Zion, and everyone,
And he was sat
he was
there alone.
sat there on his ones like,
Yeah.
someone talk to me, please.
Yes.
Revenge. So, okay, it's all right. Rookie of the year then.
Fact.
I'm so fucking mad at
Forgot about me.
players out, which is a weird one. Oladipo for injury, probably the remainder of the season. Well, we
Is
don't
he?
know yet.
No,
he'll be back.
Yeah, about to say, yeah.
Tyreek
2019,
Evans.
I think so.
Tyreek, what's his name?
Evans.
Evans.
Nailed
Suspended.
Oh, how long is he out for?
2 years.
2 years.
Suspended for what?
Drugs. Go on.
Who is on crack?
All right.
Do we know it's crack? Or is this-
Hey, man, that's the only thing we got a button for, I'm afraid. Sorry, Tyreek.
Damn.
Sorry, Tyreek.
And was
I'm
it
sure he was on the weed.
Collison? Didn't he sort of retire? Or was that last season?
He
No.
retired,
He retired at the
He
end of the
retired
season.
because he had
yeah.
Notable.
sort of religious.
Yeah,
was
because
He's
now
notable.
it's
Sorry.
He was
Yeah.
notable.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I was thinking
But yeah,
the big
notable.
Collison.
No.
Nick.
Also retired. Also
Also
retired.
but a couple of seasons.
Yeah,
back.
no, yes. Yeah, he did. He did.
All right, so X factors of actually 3 players for me, not things. Oladipo's return, because obviously that'll change the structure of the team. Sabonis being a starter, hopefully, maybe, and Miles Turner shooting threes.
Yeah,
because he started shooting threes last season. So let's see if he's improved it. Again, that could change the configuration of the team. So they had 48 wins last season. I think I want to see them around 50 to consider that being an improvement. So I want to see them
gone up.
4th. Maybe taking that
48
Celtics
wins last season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were slept on big time last year.
Do you know why you're frowning? Because people just they sleep on Nate McMillan as a head coach.
Yeah.
They really do.
I was really pushing for him as coach of the year,
which is totally. But he just gets slept on.
Yeah, well, as a team, people were sleeping because I remember after Oladipo went down, they were beating teams still, like no man's business. The only thing for me is the fact that they lost Bogdanovic, who was a really important part of their offense. Brogdon will come in and take on some of that load, but losing him and Collison, I think that's a lot of offense that they had and relied upon out of the window. It'll just be interesting to see how they manage that before Oladipo comes back.
Oladipo coming back.
There are several teams, especially in the East, that the sort of underlying X factor will be sort of the coaching and how well they're coached and the scheming. And the system that's employed. Raptors, Celtics, and Indiana, in my opinion, are those 3 teams for the most part at the top of that pile. Nate McMillan, Nick Nurse, and who did I say? Who was that?
Raptors.
Raptors.
I blacked out.
Yeah. Oh, and Brad Stevens. Sorry. Those 3 coaches. really are going to be put to the test next season, and it will be very interesting to see how well they do. I'm hoping for all. I'm hoping it'll go well for all three of those guys. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Where do you have them finishing before we move on?
Fourth.
Really?
Yeah.
Fourth.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm not mad at it.
All right, so that's up one from last year. Next team, we got Brooklyn.
Boom!
Brooklyn.
Hey.
Brooklyn. Is Brooklyn in the house?
Best team in New York.
Best team in New
They're
York,
not even
baby.
in New York.
Only
They're
team in New York.
No, do you know what? Let's not. Do you know? Oh, it's a shame because I'm gonna. Do you know what? No.
Who has the Nets?
I got the Nets.
Who cares? Anyway, next. Magic.
So the Nets had some notable incomings. Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan, Taurean Prince.
Traitor.
Going out, they had D'Angelo Russell and Jared Dudley.
No.
Laker now.
Oh God, you guys have a great team.
As their X factor, I've put Karis LeVert and basically how he adjusts to playing alongside Kyrie Irving.
Facts.
He was actually the best player on that team until he got injured.
Yep.
D'Angelo Russell then stepped into that void and took it and ran with it. Then when he came back, D'Angelo was still first option. But they had this sort of 3-guard attack between him, Dinwiddie, and D'Angelo. Now you replace D'Angelo with Kyrie, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play A and B, how they manage the offense, and then with Dinwiddie also coming off the bench, whether they'll see the floor at the same time as him at all, it will be interesting as well. He was injury hit, but he was also in a contract year. So there was a reason, an extra incentive to ball out.
You and contract years are.
You have to pay attention.
Oh no, you're right. I'm not.
attention.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
saying
always
it's a
spot
thing
them.
for you.
Oh, I spot them.
Yeah,
I spot them.
There's a few
It
guys
makes a
that are like
difference.
really it matters.
Yeah.
And by the
See
way,
them just
this
balling
year
out,
is
and then you
Chris
go,
Dunn's contract year.
Hey,
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
He was injury hit in his contract year, but he signed his contract early, if you remember. They put it on the table early, and he signed it early. 3 years, 52, I think he got, which I thought was a little lower than I expected, but then with the injury, it complicates things. He did ball out in the playoffs, 21 points on 61.3 true shooting percentage in their one playoff series.
Yeah.
So I think if he can support Kyrie, and if they can make that work in the backcourt, they'll be a very, very dangerous opponent in the East this year. I've got them as a solid playoff team. I'd be very surprised if they missed the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be a top. Oh, they could be in the hunt for the 4-5.
I think that for the 8 sort of region is just going to be a bit of a
bloodbath.
Throw them up
Oh
in the air,
yeah,
see where they land.
That's going to be entertaining. I'm going to love it. I hope it goes down to the last 5 games. To be honest with you, that'll be great.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Nets because I have the worry that it'll just be like a placeholder until Durant gets better.
I don't think so. They've got the pieces there to be successful this year.
And they were on the up, so it's always a bit more motivating.
Yeah,
right?
the players are all young. The only thing that they've lost is
playmaking.
In losing Jared Dudley, they've lost some of their ability to play small. There were times when he played at the 5 last year and was stretching the floor and they could go 5 out. But now they're either going to have DeAndre Jordan or homie Blockathon. What's his name?
Jared Allen.
Afro Blockathon.
What
that's
the hell was he doing playing in Summer League, by the way? How the fuck?
Oh no, I mean he's
that's crazy.
He was starting
minutes.
In the playoffs.
I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah.
It's why not? I mean, he's not in his 3rd season, is he?
Just chill.
He's going into his 3rd season.
It doesn't matter.
He's good enough.
Did you see Zion at the Summer League? Did you see Luka?
No, but he got injured. He got injured.
He did not get injured.
Luka and Zion? Yeah, Zion got injured.
I don't believe that.
Zion got injured.
But,
But
yeah,
I think-
I think that they've also lost facilitating. D'Angelo Russell.
Irving's just as good of a facilitator, if not better than Russell.
No, he's not. Stop.
He is.
No, he's not. Stop.
100%.
No, he's not. Can we bring up numbers?
100%.
Want to bring up numbers?
Look him up.
What the hell? No, he's not. What the fuck? What are we talking about?
I'll wait.
All right, you sure? All right.
3 hours later.
But in this 5 stretch of games,
Is this a dagger I see before
I'm right.
me?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
you
right.
How many?
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 assists. 7.0.
It's exactly 0.1 above.
No, it's not. It's not exactly the same. It's 0.1 better. 0.1 point. It's better.
are. Magical.
Right, fine.
I'm
I
surprised.
guess, but then I guess for the most part, D'Angelo seems like a more willing sort of
Kyrie's
facilitator.
happy to pass.
Hmm.
Kyrie's happy
We'll see.
to pass. Trust me.
We'll see.
Toxic.
And
Toxic.
also,
Toxic.
yeah, that's it. Also, the
Toxicity.
actual his mindset, how he's able to communicate with his teammates. Fair enough. He facilitated last season in Boston. He had the weapons over here in Boston. I don't think he has that talented of a set of shooters.
Ooh.
Although no,
three-point
set of
champions.
yeah, true. No, you're right. You're right.
shooting
No, you're right. You're right. Fine. I
Mm.
take that back with regards to Harris and maybe
Torian Prince was 37, 38%
Yeah,
last
I take that
year.
back. No, you're right. I take that back. I'll take
Dinwiddie
it back.
can shoot it.
But
Mm.
I still don't think he has as much of a talented team as he did in
That's
Boston.
because you overrate Boston. He's not passing to Marcus Smart for threes
I
anymore.
don't overrate Boston at all.
I'm saying you are.
No, I don't.
You just said that they were a more talented shooting
Yeah,
team than
and I don't think
Brooklyn.
they are.
They're a more talented overall team. Yeah, last season. Yeah.
You just said shooting.
Fine, I'll take it back. I'll take that.
I'll take everything back.
I'm taking the shooting back.
All right,
overall.
That's way too much on the Nets. I love Brooklyn.
Overall, but
Yeah, we don't care.
All
about
right.
BK.
So
that.
moving on to the Magic, Orlando Magic.
Back to me.
Let's go.
A pretty stable offseason, actually. They brought in Aminu. They got Chuma Keke.
Nigerian internationals.
Yeah, in as a rookie, 16th pick. Mozgov went. Violins out.
Ouch.
I mean, that is a big contract to get off your books.
You
to be
mean it's a
honest
big
with
loss?
Finally.
Yeah, on
Big-
the court.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Sure,
that started
sure.
in LA, right? If I'm not mistaken.
you. No, it was when he went to
Contract was-
Brooklyn.
Mitch Kupchak.
Yeah.
Yeah, started in
Oh,
LA.
was it?
Yeah, it started in LA.
I thought it was before that.
No. Starting in LA. Mitch
Well done,
Kupchak,
LA.
and then
Well done.
when they were going through the whole draft pick issues,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
traded it for whatever, like give us your biggest contract and we'll we'll take Russell and that and whatever.
But they did manage to re-sign Vucevic and Terrence Ross, who are starters for them. So
Still
that's pretty good.
surprised about Vucevic, but whatever.
Expectations. I think they'll be in that playoff fight, the same one that we've just been talking about,
You
around
think?
that
Really?
fifth spot. Yeah, I mean,
Fifth, that high?
I think they did it last year, and
No, they were eighth last year. No,
Seventh. They were
oh
seventh.
I'm sorry, seventh. Sorry.
But I think they've kept a stable team, and I think the rest of the league has gotten a little bit worse. I don't rate the Pacers as highly as you do, Tom. I don't rate the Raptors as highly as you do.
Really?
I think they could be battling around about the same sort of region.
There is something to be
I
said.
could
I
see
mean,
that.
I'll mention it next week. But like, there's something to be said about a team that does, and to sort of piggyback off your point,
Yeah.
a team that brings back the large core of their team.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that. And I think those teams will know themselves better, and will be able to figure it out a lot sooner. Whatever they need to figure out a lot sooner than other teams with a lot of new parts and things like that. So I totally understand. But my thing is, if they get to a point and they're starting Markel Fultz, although I'm a Markel Fultz supporter,
They likely will start him.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, will he rise? And I really want him to, but I don't know. Will he rise to that point to where he needs to be able to get them to that point?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's so hard to tell with the guy, right? Like, but there's the chance that he does. If not, DJ Augustin was a really good player for them last year.
True.
I think he's probably one of the most overlooked sort of guys in the league at the minute.
But
On the offensive end, of course.
Yeah.
I really want to see what they do in Mo Bamba because,
Yeah.
again, this is
He
why
wasn't he
I'm
injured for much of last year.
I think he was figuring it out a lot.
In and out, but figuring out as well. Like, I don't know. I think Vucevic being there or resigning or whatever, it stunts his growth. But he was a low lottery pick, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like 13. Would you be able to check that up?
Oh,
Check that. So, I think this might be good for his maturation, if that's the right word, and so we'll see. You need young players actually need to be on winning teams, be able to get that winning mentality. If Orlando continue this roll on, then yeah, okay, great, we'll see. But I think Markel Fultz is one of the X factors there.
Who did you have as X factor?
X factors for me is they're kind of going against the grain a little bit with their style of play. They've got a very big team.
Steve Clifford.
Yeah, Steve Clifford's sort of the coach, and his style is towards that. High potential on defense. And those guys, Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, and also it's like, I think we said it last year with Gordon needs kind of like, it's kind of a, either he's going to step up or you're really just a role player.
Right.
A very expensive one, by the way.
All right. So moving on to the Detroit Pistons.
Detroit basketball.
Always forget that they exist.
Honestly, it's true. That's my team. Yeah. Detroit. So outs. Zaza Pachip shot.
Wow, the disrespect.
Wow.
Say it like you're from there.
Jose Calderon, who is sorry, bloody hell. Who is free agent and is waiting for NBA contract.
He must be like 46. Surely.
No, he's like 39 or something like that. I'm not really sure, but
basically.
And then you've got Isaiah Whitehead, who was never the greatest of their players, in and out of a lot of teams, to be honest with you. And asterisks here, Kevin Porter Jr. Was it Kevin Porter Jr. or Kevin Porter, who was traded, I believe, on draft night, sort of, or in and around that time, to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna rule losing out on him as well, to be honest with you, because he looks really, really good. But we'll get to that at some point going forward. And then Tony Snell via a trade. Who again, another waste man from Chicago Bulls.
Hey, he was getting rotation minutes for the Bucks in the playoffs.
Facts, but he's still a waste man. Markeith Morris, one of the Morris twins. Tim Frazier, the legend that is
Chris Dunn.
No, Derrick Rose. Are you kidding me? The legend.
Oh, they got a super team now.
I never said that.
They got 3 All-Stars over there.
I'm pretty sure he did.
3 All-Stars over there.
Oh yeah,
Griffin, Drummond,
technically,
Rose,
but I'm not sure if he's going to start over.
MVP.
If they're going to start him over Reggie Jackson, they should.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
4. That's 4.
Is he an All-Star? He's not an All-Star. He's not an All-Star.
But if you're starting him over an All-Star,
oh, fair enough.
That makes
over
you
an
an All-Star?
MVP.
yeah.
And then Christian Wood, and then these next two are great pickups. Siaku Domboya and Joe Johnson. Siaku French league.
Yep.
Pro R, amazing draft pick, but I don't think he'll be utilized well. And Joe Johnson, who they signed from the big three, their X factors, Blake Griffin's health. And getting that roster to work, it's a bunch of pieces that don't necessarily work together. Can they get it to work? How are they going to incorporate Domboya? I think it's almost like a wasted draft pick, and I feel sorry for him because he's so talented. Joe Johnson, is it wasted? Signing? I'm really not sure. Blake Griffin's health.
Where do you expect them to finish?
They won't be getting into the playoffs. It'll be 10th, 11th place. Yeah, it's going to be a mismatch.
I disagree. I think
they made it last year.
Yeah, I think and Blake missed a lot of time last year. I think with a healthy Blake in the East, I think you're more or less a shoo-in. But then again, we've been betting on Blake's health for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, with Blake bleeding out, they're gonna struggle. They're gonna struggle. They need to get that roster to work, and I don't know how they're gonna do it.
All right, then moving on to team number 9, the Charlotte Hornets just missed the playoffs. Behind some good work from Kemba Walker, who's now left. Jeremy Lamb, the starting 2 guard, also left. Backup point guard retired. Tony Parker, he's gone to do some weird business operations in France somewhere. I don't know.
Lyon.
And the great Frank Kaminsky also decided not to re-sign with the Charlotte Hornets.
He was a wasted pick himself, man.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Notable
Where's
incoming. I don't even know. Notable incoming. Terry Rozier.
Rozier, huh?
They also signed a rookie. They used their only first round pick on Washington. PJ Washington the third.
Yeah.
Is he junior or the third? I don't know. There's a lot of juniors and thirds around.
But he's brolic. Like, he's a wing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a wing.
That's all they do. They draft wings.
Yeah,
we're drafting wings.
And I think he's actually,
except for Monk, he's trash.
think he's a bit too big to play the 2, so he doesn't really feel the need that Lamb left. And he's just going to be lumped in with Batum and all the other big wings that they have. And Bridges, it doesn't look good for them. For me, their X factor, oh man, expiring contracts. The 2017 Biyombo contract comes off the books at the end of the year. Marvin Williams, $15 million, comes off the books at the end of the year. And MKG's $13 million comes off the books at the end of the year.
Another wasted pick. Waste, man.
God.
Injuries, man. Injuries.
The director of basketball on crack over there.
Who is on crack?
Like, what kind of contracts? Even Batum, I mean, yeah.
But they've been. I don't know, man.
I love Jordan. We all love Jordan, but bloody hell, bro! Like
maybe he should come out of retirement and play.
He just almost the greatest player of all time. One of the worst.
I think.
NBA execs.
I think the problem for them, he's not an executive. He doesn't handle basketball operations.
But he still oversees.
He's a governor. The problem is he's one of the poorest governors in the league. So they make so many of their decisions based on not having the money to pay the luxury tax, for example. They're also not run that well under Mitch Kupchak, who did some good things at the Lakers in the mid-noughties. But
Mitch Kupchak has just got there.
But I don't think he's going to help them going forwards too much because he's such an old head, and he's one of the only executives. He's actually known for not tampering. So when they say he signed the Mozgov contract and the Deng contract that created the Lakers for so long, he literally didn't talk to them the whole time. And then free agency, the door opened and he said, here's
Oh
17
shit! Take all the
million.
money.
Yeah, for both of them
Take my money.
on long contracts as well.
Take
Yes.
it.
So yeah, the future, I don't think it's not very bright over there.
No.
They were the only team not to have a player on SI's top 100 players list.
Whew.
I think. Yeah, I think they were the only ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Would be.
actually didn't know. That's
Batum
new.
is probably their best player. Probably. Think about it.
He's done
Marvin
after, he's done after the
Williams,
season, no?
Marvin-
maybe Terry
I
Rozier.
don't really know.
Like
Rozier,
seriously.
I think Rozier.
I don't
is
know if he's
mad.
a starting level point guard
I don't think he
in
is.
the league.
He overrates himself so much. Like,
I feel sorry for him, man.
yeah, he's.
I don't. I think he's overpaid.
Regardless, I feel so. He's in a shitty situation.
What, but he put himself into it.
I don't. I think that's a good situation for him because he's on a team where he's going to get to express himself and show off his potential. So if he's as good as he thinks he is, now's the opportunity
This
for him
is
to show it. Whereas he hasn't had that chance to show it.
This is the
under
Reggie Jackson
Curry.
move that he basically moved when he was at OKC, right?
Ah, bang,
Yeah,
I need
bang.
more.
Yeah, no,
I need
absolutely.
more.
Absolutely.
Bang, bang. I like that.
Absolutely.
You're fine. Yeah,
But Reggie's
okay.
probably a bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my X factor. It will be interesting to see what they do with those contracts, whether they move them or just take advantage of the cap space somehow. I don't know how. A team like that probably shouldn't be trying to bring in high-profile free agents, but we'll see.
I almost want them to, like,
Hot suck.
no.
No, they're gonna suck.
I almost, again, I don't really care for them. Although it's like 90s nostalgia with their uniform and things like that, you know. But I almost want them to get the number 1 pick next year, just so
To fuck it up.
they it's almost like, okay, we're here now. Like, what, you know,
Right.
the last 10 years you've been, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you've been, you know, you've got all these draft picks, you know,
Kemba's kept you too high to really get something
within
good,
the mid lottery, whatever, and you've drafted nothing but shitty wings named Monk and Bridges. Well, actually, Bridges is alright, but
Bridges
Monk
is
is shite. You know, so I feel for them. I almost want them to do so badly that they get the number 1 pick next season.
Batum's
Could
contract
be.
expires at the end of 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it's
and
another
he's
year,
gone.
innit?
But I think 30 seconds. You just it's the funny thing with the Hornets is that everyone's kind of rooting for them. Somehow, I think that everyone.
I'm not.
No. I mean, it's that when you
Completely indifferent.
when you talk about them, it's because of the nostalgia of the 90s and the fact that Jordan's in there.
Yeah,
People are like, yeah.
No,
But
I
you don't mind them, you
think
know, it's
most
like
people
no,
care.
they're not like
Yeah,
an offensive
indifferent.
team.
No one hates them.
It's either
No.
indifferent or you're like, hey, all right, they're cool. They got cool jerseys. They got cool.
That's
You know,
it,
Jordan's
yeah.
there.
I hate
and it's
their
the
jerseys.
90s.
I
Really,
hate
you
them.
don't?
What?
You guys are weird.
Turquoise, no fan.
But you're Sixers fans, so I mean, what
Yeah,
do we expect
also,
from
fuck 'em.
All right.
90s nostalgia.
Surprise,
man.
surprise! I have them as bottom feeders. So,
Facts.
moving on to
Yeah, me too.
the Heat.
Oh, that's me again.
Yes, get it, Tom.
Excellent.
Huh?
Bang, bang. Yeah. In Jimmy Butler,
Hey.
Buckets.
Leonard, not Kawhi,
No.
Myers, Leonard.
Myers.
Myers.
UK's
Myers,
finest.
Myers. And then drafted Tyler Herro, who is
Beautiful.
American, not Spanish.
Of Spanish descent.
Out Dwayne Wade, retirement. Whiteside,
Portland.
yep, and Josh Richardson.
Josh.
Your
Yeah.
team.
Philly.
So it's funny because I was reading an article about them earlier on, and they were like, "Oh my God, they're gonna have a breakout season because Jimmy Butler's there. It's amazing, blah blah blah." And I'm like, really?
I think it's going to be better than what they
they
have
had
been
39 wins last season.
I'm predicting 42.
Do you see them having more wins than that, like over
Yeah,
40?
Not a whole lot.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Jimmy Butler on fire. let's
Yeah,
say.
I think Jimmy makes a big difference.
How many wins is Jimmy Butler bringing you
Well,
to your team?
I think you could get them into like the 45 range, which should
Fine.
put them in the
45?
playoffs. Yeah,
Damn,
I think you could get them into up there, around there.
We're in the East here.
Yeah,
Which is true,
Just has
but
to
then
beat the
remember,
Hornets.
everyone around him
Yeah.
isn't as great. So who's running the? I mean, sorry, I'm taking the time, but
No, go for it.
who's running the point? Is it going to be Dragic? Is it going to be Winslow? That was a big thing. That's
Mhm.
a,
Yeah,
that's
Winslow
been a big
said
thing
he wanted to.
over there. You know, Dion Waiters. Everyone's waiting for him to show out, but he's just I don't know. It's just weird. It's just
never
a
gonna show
letdown.
out.
I don't
He
disagree
had
with
a
you, but
contract year.
he's
He played well.
he,
Then he ate burgers for
Yeah.
a whole summer.
he just
Nice.
almost a letdown, but I don't know.
He is.
I really don't know.
So my X factor is Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler in the sense that has he got enough players around him to get them anywhere?
Mm.
That's my X factor. That's what if he's healthy, if he's
Yeah.
involved and not talking shit to anyone and
Yeah.
cutting everybody else soft,
Mm-hmm.
and he's if he's got an all-star type season, then yeah, all right, I can see them competing for the playoffs. But other than that, I don't really know. Even though it's in the East,
Mhm.
but I don't have much faith in that team.
Winslow needs to keep up his development for them to
Yeah.
be good. Bam Adebayo
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a secret
Yeah.
good guy.
Yes.
But yeah, kind of stops there, right?
But it's a culture-based team, isn't it? A lot like
Yeah.
the Nets, a lot like the
Yeah.
Spurs, a lot like
Spurs,
the Blazers. It's not necessarily about looking at the players that are there and thinking where does their talent
More of
place
the
them.
system.
It's
Right.
more the system. It's more the motivation, the leadership.
Yeah.
And they're saying that
Yeah,
Jimmy
they've resigned.
Butler is fitting in. I don't know what is going on there. they need to look at that for tampering.
Yep.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's really fit in there, and Spoelstra was saying he's like his DNA like perfectly matches with the team.
Yeah.
There was someone on Zach Lowe or was it Howard Beck's podcast talking about like how the practices are super, super hard over there.
Yeah.
And he just fits right in with his like hard hat mentality.
Sure.
I think that was it. They were sort of saying, I think it might have been Zach Lowe's,
Yeah.
that like you can't turn up to the Heat practices soft. Like they go hard, and that's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I was concerned that Jimmy was kind of planning his retirement and seeing some nice
you mean by
Cubans
move- by
in his future. But actually, after hearing some of the stuff that they're talking about, actually, I think it's going to be a good fit.
Talking about Butler, yeah. Don't you guys think it's one of the surprise move of the summer?
Yeah.
Just him getting to go
A
into
little
the
bit.
Heat.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised
bit.
that he left Philly.
No, I wasn't surprised he left. I was surprised
But
his
that he went to the
destination
Heat.
Surprise
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
I don't know, because where else was he gonna go?
Knicks.
Sure.
He got the Kawhi call, let's not forget.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to the Washington Wizards.
The hell?
God.
They're still in NBA, really? Is that
Listen.
still a team?
All right.
Oh, now we're getting to the trash now. Nice.
No, now we're getting to the teams that really matter.
What do you mean? To who?
So, they've had a ton of incoming and outgoings. I've written some of them down. All right, but I'll get to the nitty gritty later. So in Hachimura, Isaiah Thomas, Bertans, CJ Miles, Ish Smith. Outgoing Satoransky, Jeff Green, Portis, Jabari Parker, Ariza, Dwight Howard. There are more incomings, and I think there's one or two more outgoings as well. A lot of the other incomings are young players and draft picks that they traded for in and around draft day. And generally, they've gone for people on small contracts, people that are good locker room guys, and young players. So there's also, I think there's 3 players they got from the Lakers when they were trying to shed contracts for AD. But the X factor there is the youth revolution that they're trying, and also the locker room dynamics. When Shepherd seemed stressed by having to manage all of this, and he said when he got rid of Dwight Howard, he said it was the fastest trade he's ever done. And this is for a player that played 9 games for the team, right?
Wow.
We traded them to
Jeez.
Memphis. And then he's gone young, but then also gotten in some veterans sprinkled in there. IT is going to be injured for the next 6 to 8 weeks. He's not going to feature, but I don't think he's really much of an influence anymore anyway. And then looking ahead, I think part of the reason he's constructed the team in this way is looking at cap flexibility, because they've given John Wall this massive contract which isn't likely to be movable.
It's huge.
But then also Bradley Beal's going to be up for his contract very soon as well, so they could potentially have both of those big contracts at the same time on the books.
If they give Beal a huge contract, that would make 0 sense.
It depends on whether or not they want to keep him or trade him.
Yeah.
I think
interesting to see.
I think they've got to trade him now before that.
If Rory shows out, Hachimura shows out,
I like him a lot.
me too. Then he's done, because they're gonna be like, we might just have to build a.
Is he going to be the John Wall to Gilbert Arenas? Because Gilbert Arenas got injured, and then they brought in the new young talent, and then they shipped out Arenas.
I mean,
And he was on a big contract too.
so wait,
He was on a fucking huge contract. I think he's still getting paid.
Gilbert
still
Arenas
getting paid,
played where? He played what position?
Point.
Point guard, shooting guard, right? Point guard, right?
They were
Point
both,
guard,
yeah.
Yeah.
Wall
It was-
and they were both
it was
point guards.
Yeah, it was a combo guard. This is a different situation whereby,
Oh yeah.
Rory is a forward, a
Mm.
very good forward, by the way.
Mm.
And he's a big bodied, NBA bodied forward that I think he will do well given this time, given the situation, given the opportunity. I think he will do well.
But do you think he's good enough to really elevate a team?
Oof.
I don't think he is.
Is he
No, not yet.
Is he a franchise cornerstone?
Oof. No,
No.
he's a piece.
Right.
He's a piece in the cog. He could be,
Right.
let's say, a future big 3, but he's like the third piece.
Third player on it.
He's
right.
the
Bosh, the future. Yes. yeah, and that's not bad.
That's
not bad.
No.
I wonder
I'd
if
happily
he'll ever
be a
be as
Bosh.
good as Bosch. All right. Surprisingly, I have them as bottom feeders. Moving on to the Atlanta Hawks.
Trash.
Exciting team.
Trash.
Fuck.
Who's got them?
Who got him?
I ain't got him.
I ain't got them.
Oh.
I've got them. Hang on. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go on.
Cool. Atlanta Hawks. One of my teams
Yeah.
that definitely weren't forgotten about.
No.
All right. So going out, we've got Solomon Hill, Kent Bazemore, and Miles Plumlee. Potentially the other Plumlee, but I'm pretty sure it's Miles. Coming in, Chandler Parsons, big move. Jabari Parker,
Ooh.
big move. Yeah. Evan Turner, Alan Crabb, and they drafted Cam Reddish, which is actually quite big. They also re-signed VC, which is nice. It's
Hey.
just nice.
This does 46.
I couldn't believe he was out there
It's
playing
ridiculous,
in
man.
preseason.
I'm
Like, just
still
come
throwing
back
down.
later.
Right.
Who? Sorry?
This is not
Vince.
for you.
Vince Carter, just go home, sit on the rocking
Easy.
chair, come back later, man.
Is this the record number
Yeah,
of
it
years?
Yeah.
Insane.
Passing Robert Parrish.
Insane. The expectations for the season, I've just put not terrible for the first time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. X factors. I've got the development of Young being Trae Young, and how good Cam Reddish could be, because he sort of floated around like the top 5 of the draft boards going into it. So there's quite a lot of expectation on him and how he's going to fit in with Trae Young, who takes up a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
But is a good playmaker at the same team. I think they're transitioning into a real team now.
Yeah, I like the way they're constructed with Huerta as well. I think Cam Reddish is going to take the Taurean Prince spot in minutes.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how he's mentored by Vince.
Well, they
going
got some
forward.
other like good veteran pieces around them
Yeah.
as well, like Evan Turner and Alan Crabb coming in. A pretty significant sort of pieces, really.
It's been said that they are
Legend has it.
Somewhat. They are somewhat modeling themselves on sort of the Golden State blueprint, Golden State skeleton, and I can see that.
You would when you have Trae Young.
Yeah, but they like
Clay's
everybody sees the big shooting, but they forget what Draymond did for that team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
And they don't have a Draymond.
say it again.
They were built
What?
on defense.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, John Collins is a nice piece.
He's not the best of defenders, though.
He's not, but I hope that he can continue to develop. But
Yeah.
it's there's a lot riding on Trae Young, and he is a great rookie.
Great
last
offensive
season. So it'll be an exciting team to watch for sure.
Do you think they have what it takes to push for an 8th seed?
No.
Not this season. I
No.
don't think this season.
They got too many young
You think they'll
pieces.
be just outside.
Too many young pieces.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll be like 10th.
They've got a
10,
lot
11.
Yeah.
of
That's about
new players
Yeah.
that are signed to guaranteed contracts.
Mm-hmm.
/ 2 ways. So yeah, I mean, I rate Lloyd Pierce as a coach, but it's just a lot to kind of get over that hump.
It's a lot to ask for
Yeah,
that team, I think.
Yeah.
they'll be
I think
better
so.
than last season, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll take over the
it's a
Wizards.
journey. Some might call it a process.
Oh, nice.
All right. So moving on to team number 13, what's that? The Midland Reds.
Yeah.
I think that's what that says.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. Yeah.
disrespectful motherfuckers.
The Central Division.
Chicago
Animals.
Bulls, eh?
The nostalgia team.
Chicago
Talking about the
Bulls, eh?
Go on.
Anyway, roster changes for my mighty Bulls.
Time.
Shut up. I'll take 10 minutes.
He's got 20 minutes for that.
Exactly. In 7th pick, Kobe White. In
That's it.
steal of the draft, Daniel Gafford. Fact. He's gonna be our
Notable ends.
Yeah, he's gonna be our Mitch. He's gonna be our Mitchell Robinson.
What number
Yeah.
pick?
You're Frank.
Yeah.
Number pick?
No, not Frank. He's in this. He was a second round. And
Cool.
Mitch wasn't even drafted.
Right.
Anyway, and then we signed Thaddeus Young, Thomas Sadaransky.
Oh, yeah.
We re-signed Archie Diacono. Re-signed Shaquille Harrison, don't know why, and re-signed signed, should I say, former Knicks stretch forward, Luke Cornett. There are
Big
also
baller move.
there are also notable signings on our coaching staff. Chris Fleming.
Shit, we've had to go to the coaching staff.
No, the reason why, because they've come from like Houston Rockets and,
Okay.
and notable teams. So again, we'll see how that works. And then sort of the notable out is Antonio Blakely, but he was waived and yeah, no good.
Notable
Yeah,
outs.
whatever.
Impacts the team.
Yeah, he played a lot of minutes.
X Factor.
Anyway,
Chris
2.
Dunn.
Chris Dunn, 4-1. So 2 I've got here. The system. So although many believe Zach LaVine and Laurie's progression will be the X factor next season, which is understandable, their talent needs to be utilized in the best way, in the best system. Last season, the Bulls were the worst one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and one of the slowest teams in the league, and shot the fewest threes.
Exciting.
With the new coaches that they've brought in, and with Jim Boylan, they need to be able to figure out a system to be able to utilize the talent properly, utilize Kobe White's speed, utilize Daniel Gafford in the middle of the paint, utilize Thaddeus Young, and just and ensure that the system that they employ helps Zach LaVine and Laurie progress to the next step that they need to take. And then the second one, before I get to that, I've got here that Jim Boylan, and his new coaches, just have to put our star players in the right position to win, basically. And then the next X factor, I would say, are the injuries. We've been hit by the injury bug plagued by the injury bug for the last few seasons. And once again, it's hit us again, basically. Wendell Carter's out, back injury. Hutchinson's got hamstring injury. Harrison's out with another hamstring injury, and Cornette is out with a foot injury. And their return dates haven't been announced. Injuries I'm not entirely sure. That's going to really, really plague us, and it really needs to kind of we need to get a hold of that issue, the injuries. Our tier, where we believe we're going to finish, I think we're gonna be fighting in and around the 7th, 8th spot. Personally, yeah, I think so.
All right, let's cut off his mic.
No, I think so. You can laugh all you want. Yeah, 7th, 8th spot. I think we've got the talent, but I just don't. My issue is I don't believe in Jim Boylan. I don't believe he's good enough to get us over that hump. I think we've got the talent. I don't think we've got the head coach to get us over that hump. And that's my only issue. I said I've got here that
hump. I mean,
I've got here that they've got the talent to make the 8th spot, but I just don't think Jim Boylan is the coach in order to get us to that.
I think you're being blinded by your fandom.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I hope the Markkanen is back, fully healthy, and I think that he could take a good step up.
Yeah, I really like Markkanen.
I think we've got the talent. But the head coach, no way.
The team has already shown that they have shifted to the modern NBA, where most of their points are coming either at the 3-point line. I think something like 80% of their shots
last
in the preseason game came from either the restricted area or the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there was only about 10 shots from the mid-range,
they
shot really poorly. It was 1 for 8.
So we averaged around 20 3-point shots per game last season to low 20s, and then last night we shot 20 in the first half. So that's a good sign, but we'll see.
Bottom feeders.
No, we won't be. We won't be.
Next team is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Trash.
Hey.
What?
The East still goes through the Cavs. They still haven't been beaten in the playoffs.
God.
Still.
All right then. Notable
Alrighty.
players in. Yeah. They drafted. They had a 5th pick. Garland, who, from what I've heard, is pretty good.
Very smooth.
So he's a good shooter.
Very steady, very sort of slow pace, half court type of.
Is he a point?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't Sexton also a point guard?
They're going to use him both in the back court. They're going to use Sexton as sort of the main point, and then they're going to use Garland at the 2, but they'll switch.
Okay.
Because
Damon CJ, baby.
Sexton is more of an attacker, more of a downhill, whereas I can forget his name.
Sexton.
Not Sexton.
Garland.
Garland
is
like a half court. Is half court
right
facilitator. He's got a better shot, steady paced. So
right. As mentioned earlier on, Kevin Porter Jr. has made his way to the Cavs.
Looking really good.
Also notable in John Beeline, who is the new coach. I had to look him up. How do you say his name? It's Beeline.
Well done.
He used to be in Michigan in the NCAA.
Nice.
Cool.
Rookie coach.
Player we don't know. So I put LeBron James last year and Zydrunas in 2010. X Factor none. I don't really know.
No, I think
most likely to be beaten by a G League team.
Yeah, I think so.
Before we interrupt, the tier.
Lower than bottom. That's what I put.
Oh,
G League.
Number one draft pick candidates.
Oh,
yeah, of course, of course.
They're gonna move the
their
franchise
X
to
factor
Europe.
is Beeline sort of getting into amalgamating himself into the NBA, and he's teaching because he was a really good college coach for God knows how many years. Pretty much his entire career.
Yeah.
So his teaching will be the X factor, and that is what they've preached to the media for the most part.
Yeah.
Is he's teaching. So I get. Don't get
He
me
was
wrong,
there for 12 years.
yeah.
Michigan.
So I get your point. I agree with it, pretty much everything you're saying. But I think the X factor their real X factor will be he's teaching per se, and let's see how that.
Look,
how
there's
that
a lot
goes.
of young guys.
Yeah.
A lot of very young guys on that
Yeah.
team. So they need somebody who's kind of that's been around college kids.
Someone other than Jordan Clarkson to lead
Um,
the team. I did.
Kevin
wanna
Love is he
say-
gone?
Kevin Love's in
That's,
there.
that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Are they going to move him? Are they
He's
gonna flip
chilling,
him to
man. He's getting
something?
paid. He doesn't want to go anywhere.
Leave him alone.
I don't know. Lakers could need a stretch four.
Knicks,
Hey.
Knicks. Would Knicks go for him?
He'd love to play with LeBron again.
No, I don't.
Why would you go from the Cavs to the
No,
Knicks?
the Knicks only have 5 power forwards. So
Yeah.
signing
more.
another
Listen,
one.
they played really well the other night.
I don't
So
wanna hear
chill, bro. You need-
So
yeah.
moving
This
on.
disrespect that you've got towards the because you're some LeBron fanboy.
Moving.
Out of here.
Moving
Right,
on.
fuck out of here, boy.
Is this your game?
Moving on to.
I'm gonna tear you up next week.
Moving on to the Atlantic Division Blues.
The only team in New York.
Yeah,
Sure.
The New York Knicks.
All right.
I like them.
So after your huge off-season bringing in KD,
This guy.
AD, Kyrie,
No, do you know what?
Jimmy Butler.
Listen, Tom. I'm here for you, bro. I'm here for you. I'm
Look,
on the East as well. I'm,
How
I'm a
quickly
Bulls.
that
I'm
slipped
here for
down.
you. No, I'm here for
Or
you. I'm here for you.
maybe we'll get Kemba.
Funnily enough, what they've done was actually somehow
Whiteside?
kind of smart.
Very, very smart. Very
Smart.
smart.
smart for the Knicks.
Once
right
you
now.
realise-
Wait, I've started now.
Bro, take your
Give me that
time.
minute
Take
back.
your time.
Players in.
I
RJ Barrett.
Take your time.
Third pick.
Hey,
Thank
Yeah, and
you.
he's
Hey.
looking real good, real
He can
nice.
score, man. He can
when you
score.
suck, you get good draft picks.
Carmelo 0.5.
So you can talk.
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah,
You're-
Look at this
please.
now. Look at this now.
Marcus Morris, Reggie
Whoa.
Bullock, Randall. That's a good
Julius
pick.
Randle.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Randall, good pick.
Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, and Peyton.
Who's
Power forward, power
really
forward, power
good.
forward.
Point guard.
Yeah, he's
That's fine.
really good.
He's average.
No,
It's
man.
solid.
You don't watch him. You're
solid.
very solid.
Solid.
Very, very solid.
We've lost Lance Thomas to the Nets.
Yep.
Has he?
Yeah.
Another traitor. Bloody
Yeah.
hell.
Notable.
DeAndre Jordan.
Wasn't a
Jordan.
notable in for the
Yeah,
Nets.
Lance Thomas is notable. Come on.
DeAndre Jordan to the
Number
whatever.
23.
Yeah, whatever. Mario Ezonja.
His zone, yeah.
Mario
To the Blazers.
Hezonja.
And Emmanuel Mudiay
Yeah,
to
he's
the
gone.
Jazz. I know you
To
said
the
notable.
Oh, I didn't even realize
gone.
he went.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
notable.
He was solid.
He
He was
started.
solid.
He started a lot last season. So
So he's gone to the Jazz.
that makes
Who
him solid.
no, I think notable. It makes him notable.
notable. Well, I hope I get the Jazz.
It
next
will
week.
impact
I don't
Did I
know,
get
I
the
don't know
Jazz
whose
next
notebook this is.
Anyway, X Factors.
It's a waste of ink.
Obviously. God. damn.
I'm sorry. I'll shut
Don't
up.
worry, I'm here for you. I'm here for you,
That's
bro.
fine.
They
X Factor. X Factor.
It is
X
through
Factor.
dark-
Obviously,
Yeah.
RJ's
My shit.
adaptation to the NBA,
Facts.
and also Frank
Frankie Smokes.
Shays for the MIP trophy.
Did you see the guy on New York
Go on.
Knicks fan TV who called him Frankie Cigarettes?
Frankie cigarettes.
no.
Yeah, he was so pissed off because he ruined the best nickname of all time, which was the French Prince, the French Prince of New York. But he had a good FIBA World
French
Cup.
Prince is
Yeah,
Look,
and he looked really confident last
Yeah.
night. Knocking down. I mean, he
great.
didn't shoot well, but he defended very, very well. The way he played was so much a huge contrast in sort of
Confidence.
yeah,
It's
exactly from
confidence, all you
last
needed.
season, or the little bits and pieces he played last season to this season. A huge contrast. He looked like he wanted it, like he was going for it, like he wasn't scared to. attack, go downhill. He wasn't scared to make a decision, or he wasn't overthinking his decisions. So something, I hope he gets picked for the Olympic team next year.
Yeah.
And that is going to help him. I think someone made a point on, I think it's Next Fan TV or something, that him being around his older, the veterans on the French national team helped him. It's helping him.
So there's that. There's also something very
Some real actual basketball
some
players.
actual players. Yeah, I know. Right? Oh god. So the smart thing that Fizdale's done, he's also bringing in the coach from the French national team.
Well, really?
He'll be busy because he's coaching in France, but he's gonna try and get him to be integrated into the coaching staff to get Frank out of his funk.
Yeah.
So I see them. This is where we laugh. 9 to 12.
7th to 8th.
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
12.
What the fuck is wrong with you
All right.
guys?
I said James Harden 8th.
All right.
Knicks 9 to 12.
I actually think
8.
that I think there will be higher.
6.
I think
Let's
they'll
go.
be higher. I think Bulls and the Knicks will be
Bulls for the 8th seed.
Yeah, I think
and
the
the
Bulls
Cavs.
and the Knicks
And the Cavs.
it will be sort of the 8th, 9th, sort of 10th place will be
10th, 11th,
no, not at all.
14th.
This LeBron fanboy. No, stop. I don't give a damn what you got to say. Lakerland. Fuck out of here.
La la, baby.
Get out of
So,
here.
Next week.
What it do, baby?
Yeah, I'm gonna just shit on you next week. You're a shit ass
What it do,
team.
baby?
so
Spare pieces and old dudes.
that
Fuck outta here.
concludes our Eastern Conference
Yeah.
preview. Remember to
I'm gonna
like,
get at you next week, boy.
share,
I'm
and
gonna-
subscribe to the podcast across all platforms. We are at Grit N Grime Pod across socials, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please leave a review if you listen on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, please.
5 stars.
Any written feedback, email us at gritandgrimepod@gmail or DM us on socials, please. So that concludes the podcast. Ayo, ayo.
Fucking idiots.
So from me, David Sagoe, Michael Downey,
Good night.
Thomas Arnold,
Friends.
Lily, and ayo.
Fuck off. Shout out to before we go, shout out to all our new followers on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, Chris Dunn 4-1. Hey!
Bye-bye.